So everybody's getting all their gear together, and we're gonna split here. What time is it?
4:15.
It's about 4:15. It's a little later than we expected to start, but we don't really have very far. It's 10 miles, and we're gonna try to make it to the Teklanika, cross it, and set camp tonight. So with us today are Trevor, Mike, Pete, Jeremy, Andrew, Jed, Jenna, Brian, Miranda, Brandon, and Carine.
Let us know when.
And our feet shall be dry no more. Some of us are going to try to delay the inevitable.
He would definitely not eat that. I wouldn't count it.
So we have made it to the mud fields, which really are not nearly as muddy as they were any other time I've been here before. Actually, the whole trail has been much drier than usual, and I'm hoping that means that the river will be low. So beavers have changed the character of this part of the trail a little bit. Put a dam. The trail's actually over there in the pond, but we're crossing over here. This is the Savage River, and it is quite low.
But it's supposed to like come into frame like it's big.
It's an actual backpack.
So this is the Teklanika River. It's looking awfully low compared to other times that I've been here. And I think we're gonna go ahead and try and cross it. And group one is across. It's worth mentioning at this point that the river was very low on our trip. We planned to go during late May and kept a close eye on the weather in the weeks leading up to our trek to make sure conditions would be right. The river is much higher and very dangerous most of the summer. You could easily be hurt or killed trying to cross the Teklanika. Make sure you do your research, and if you plan on making this hike, check out the link below for more information on the river crossing. Yes.
Your dog. Or maybe it's just bear. Or maybe it's Bear Grylls.
Feel the sea.
So now that we are across the river, everybody has set up their tents, and we're cooking dinner.
It's raining pretty good this morning.
Gloves would have been a good idea.
I meant to. I had fleece ones that I laid on my dresser. I know exactly where they are. I set them there so that I remember them, but they're not in my pack. They're there.
Andrew forgot his raincoat, but luckily Jeremy had an emergency poncho. So Andrew's going to be rocking that.
Crisis averted.
Brandon and Miranda have come up with a
You're fun and games until you snap a pole.
way to keep dry on the trail. Heading out towards the bus, 10 miles to go, and we'll be there. Get out of the shot!
By your backpack. All right, we're really pretty.
They're full in it.
It is. I mean, there's only I don't know, maybe a dozen pages left.
A little just good. It's like a stabilizer. Just rotates his hips.
And he's like, I'm an environmentalist. I'll take one too.
So this is the cave where Chris attempted to smoke the moose.
You can ask anything. It's fine.
Do a hand signal or something for me to shut up.
Usually the trails that I hike are pretty consistent. This one is far from that.
Yeah.
You know, nice and flat and soft, rocky, mud pits. Walking through the rivers, that was very emotional for me when we crossed the Tek. But thinking about Chris being on the opposite side and having to turn around and it forever changing his fate, you know, that was tough. I mean, I would much rather we all be sitting around camping together with Chris and listening to his stories about travel than me telling you about the man that people don't know, you know? I always talk to students about self-awareness versus selfishness. It's so important. Some people think Chris was very selfish for what he did, but I believe it was the exact opposite. You know, what he did was difficult and uncomfortable. But he knew it's what he had to do to be himself and solve some things that were going on with himself. And that way he could be, you know, a better man in any situation, whether it's a situation on his own or a relationship or an employee or anything. I think people, whether they make this hike or whether they come here or whether they're just inspired by his story, I don't think it's so much about them searching for a connection with Chris as it is reconnecting with something they lost in themselves.
So everyone is up this morning. We're having breakfast and then we're going to be heading back out to the Teklanika here in just a bit.
I'm just trying to clean up the bus a little bit and organize some things. People have left behind a lot of things in their own inspiration. Thank you for your story and the chance to experience this beautiful place. Michelle, Nathan, and Dylan McCandless. I saw where they signed over there too. So this was my journal that I was writing in and keeping everything in when I was writing my book. So it seemed appropriate to write in it here. So I've written in it every day that we've been hiking in Alaska.
Yeah. Okay, you guys ready?
While you're over there.
Ready?
All right, ready.
Set. Go.
Go.
All right, so I'm gonna do
One more set? All right, one more for Jed. No, it's a, but so it's been quite a journey here, and we're getting ready to leave bus 142. And we've done a lot of work to clean this place up as best we can. As you can see, unfortunately, people don't respect this place very much, and it shouldn't have anything even to do with Chris's presence, but this bus itself has a long history before Chris ever found it. To the credit of Jess Mariner, and who hauled it out here in the early 60s. And you know, it's got its own story, and people unfortunately don't always respect it. There's a lot of trash that's collected, so I would ask people that come out here to respect it. We cleaned a lot up and tried to pile it here. Obviously we can't get it out on our backs, but we've cleaned up what we can. Maybe we can organize something to get that trash out of here. But if everyone does their part to try to clean up and not leave so much behind, that would be a way to respect this place. It's been really powerful to be here. It's been wonderful to share it with friends. I've got mixed emotions leaving, but I'm really glad that I came. And I'm glad to have good friends, old friends and new friends to share it with. So I feel good, and we have a beautiful day, blessed with an absolutely beautiful day to be hiking back, and hopefully we'll be blessed with a low Teklanika River to get back across. Because the goal is to make it home, not to make it to the bus. get educated about it. It's not the most arduous hike there is, but it's a tough hike, and the conditions are unknown. People I've been hiking with out here have been through here so many times, and around every corner they see something different, and it's not how it usually is. So it's pretty tough to be prepared for. And again, the safety should be the first thing. You can learn a lot from Chris. You can also learn from his mistakes, and it's very important to be safe when you're coming out here, and to respect this area, and to respect the state, and to respect the people that have to rescue you if you aren't prepared to make it out here safely and to make it back. So there's many ways that people can do that. They can go to stampedetrail.info, hosted by Erik Halfacre, and there's some good information on there. There's a lot of sites where, that one included, the forum, where people post that have been here many times, and do the research and have the advice, and wear wool socks, and bring plenty of food and plenty of fuel. You can't always make fires. If there hasn't been enough rain, you can't build a fire, so make sure you have what you need to stay fed and hydrated. Sometimes there's water along the trail, sometimes there's not, so you've got to do what you've got to do to make sure that you stay safe. That's the end game, is to get back home. The most important thing I would tell people who find themselves inspired to be out here is to ask yourself why you're inspired to be out here. People continue to come. The stream of travelers is steady from what I see in the journals and the entries, and the people that have written their names in the bus and in the journals in the bus. And everybody has different messages, but the tone is the same. There's something about their life that they're inspired to do. They want to make their life better, be a better person. They want to make a difference. They want to live their life in a more simple and pure way. And they've figured a lot of that out on the way as they've done that tough hike to get here. So again, if that's your end goal, then you need to get back safely so you can continue to live by the lessons that you've learned from the journey. So be safe. That's the number one concern, is not to get here, but to get here safely.
Back at the Teklanika River. In just a moment, we should all be on the other side.
That's only 3 times. It's okay. 3 times.
Touchdown! Found a spot to camp. Gonna get set up and head all the way out to the bus tomorrow morning.
That was maybe later. Maybe later. That was really
later.
Good,
So this is the only bear sign that we've seen so far on this entire trip. It'd be kind of nice to see one maybe way off far in the distance though.
We made it to the bus and back. We're heading back, hopefully back to 8 Mile Lake today if conditions and our bodies allow it. We're quite tired. We've had pretty excellent conditions, lots of water and wet boots, and cold winds, mosquito hordes, and lots of mud to get through, sometimes knee deep. But comparatively to people who I'm hiking with that have done this trail several times have said that these conditions have been excellent. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about hiking the Stampede Trail, that all those things I just described are excellent conditions, so it's not an easy hike. Last night we were able to cross the Tek, and even though it's running low right now, it's still very swift, very cold. It was still quite scary. We had a group of 13. We broke into 2 groups, and we were able to do a group crossing, which was a safe way to do it. Somebody that was on their own, I doubt, could have gotten across last night. We went at a time where the river was at its lowest. Still running pretty low this morning, although you can see right here, even at this point, there's some standing waves There's a deep channel right here, and it's running pretty swift, so that would be dangerous to get across. And again, this is a very low point. This river in the summertime is much wider and raging throughout here, which is of course what got my brother stuck on the other side when he was alone and unable to get across. So we have been talking about the idea of putting a footbridge, and it would be from a point behind me where it would be mounted on this side of the Teklanika River. The bus is on that side, and there would be bedrock on this side and a platform on the other side. And that would enable people to safely cross the river at any time of year. It is important, if you're going to hike the Stampede Trail, to pay attention to conditions. It's not just the river, but timing with bears and other things, weather conditions, temperatures. But the river is one of the scariest parts of the trail, and you have the Savage River to deal with also that can run high at different times of the year. So the thought of putting the footbridge, it would be a footbridge that would be just wide enough for individual hikers or mountain bikes. It would not be something for ATVs or trucks in any way, shape, or form. But we do feel that considering how many people make this attempt and get stuck on the other side and are unable to cross, the amount of time and stress and funds that we hope it would relieve from the state of Alaska having to do rescues. Of course, there's rescues all over this area, but particularly on this trail, the tech seems to be the main reason that people get stuck. And unfortunately, people have gotten injured, and of course Claire Ackerman passed away while trying to cross the tech. And she was an extremely experienced hiker in many areas of the world. She was strong, she was a triathlete, obviously someone who expected that they could get themselves across safely, and unfortunately it was very sad that she lost her life.
This is the memorial to Claire Ackerman, who drowned in the Teklanika River. But it's here at the Savage River because when her mother came out to set the memorial, the Savage wasn't crossable at that point.
You getting my exhausted look?
And we're all pretty exhausted now, and we're shuffling the last couple miles back to the bus that runs, and then we're gonna go find some burgers.
And root beer.
That's it, we're back to the bus.
You look a little burned. I am. But we're both right.
Lap one complete. Let's go.
Did we make a mess of this? Hey, did my black bag get back in here?